All right, just a quick recap. I was trying to explain this very practical software development, or it's a methodology. Okay, how do you manage a team to work on a project? It's called Agile development. It's basically the trend today. Most of the company you work with or teams, they're going to follow a similar structure. Okay, but we did spend some time for you to understand why there's this thing called Agile, because in the old days, in the 70s, 80s, 90s, people use waterfall. Waterfall was a very straightforward way to solve problems. You break it down from the big task into smaller ones, and then you will work on that one after another one until you finish the previous one. You won't move down to the next one. So that's very straightforward. But as the project getting bigger and bigger and more complicated, this one involves a lot of risks. The risks come from a lot of time that we build a software, you don't know whether this is right or wrong. Customers don't even know whether it's right or wrong until they see it and try it, right? So that's why so things like the waterfall model becomes very inflexible. So the solution to that is that we break the big cycles down into the smaller ones so that we can um, have the customers to really see something after every single small cycle was instead of waiting for the whole cycle to be finished like 1 year, 2 years, and they can see some updates every month or every 2 or 3 weeks. Then they can give you sooner and faster feedback to make sure everything is on track, right? So this is what we do here for Agile development. And then as we run Agile, some of the most important concepts I told you is that you need to decide a sprint cycle, how long that is, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 1 week, 4 weeks. Those are typical numbers. And every cycle, you pick the things from the log and then decide what you want to work on. And after that, just do it. But you have to finish the whole thing, including all the delivery. Okay, so the typical teams has not only the development team, but also a scrum master that manage all the whole agile process. And then you also have a product manager or product owner that determines a lot of these features and business aspects. Every cycle will do the whole thing completely. All right. And then some of the important practices. Okay, so you need to know how to write user stories. Instead of write a very formal long documentation, put things features down as user stories, write it very concisely, and that's how you form the whole backlog. And once you have the list of tasks, you need to know how to prioritize that. Okay, instead of arguing, the best way is to talk to customers, getting the real needs and demand. Okay, you also need to know how to estimate the efforts, how long is task going to do, because that's how you can plan for every sprint, every small cycle, how many tasks you can finish. All right. And also I showed you there's some practice like this, people showing the cards and just based on your own estimation, how long it's gonna take, and then every developer trying to make agreement. Okay. And then we just start work on that. So some as you go this whole process, okay, I did mention about this Scrum meeting, or we call it stand-up meeting, very important. A lot of time people run this meeting once a day. It's a daily Scrum meeting. That's the most typical way to run it. And all the developers get together, team get together. It's normally 10, 15 minutes. People would like to do the stand up so that we can keep the meeting shorter. Everyone just goes through 3 questions very concisely. What did I do yesterday? What will I do today? And is there anything in my way? Okay, so just answer 3 questions. You don't talk about anything else. Okay, that's how you do a Scrum meeting. Um, I showed you this is some of the scenario you will see in a company, even though people are using tools, but a lot of teams actually prefer to use some of the physical stickers because that allows people to kind of do some of this in-person interaction. And it's also very, very clear. Okay, people will see that how we are moving things from from the like the to-do column all the way to the end to the final finish of the column. All right. Another meeting is that when we, at the end of the sprint cycle, we do some kind of reflection and review just to see what was working or what's not working and how we can improve. Okay, as I mentioned last time, maybe you plan something too much for your team and you just can't finish that in the first sprint. So next time we should try to do a more uh, conservative planning, or maybe you did something too less, and then there's something we can increase. So always adjust it, so you will see how you can make sprint more effective. All right. So that's pretty much what you need to do for Agile. I gave you the next assignment, which is to create the GitHub project with your team. Okay, put everything there, form your backlog, and then you really need to start to practice this one and form some sprint cycle, 1 week or 2 weeks with the team, have some of the meetings, do some plannings, and then start work on the project or move on with the project as soon as you can. Because after the midterm, you will get a lot busier. I would say the best time to push the project is right now, okay, before the midterm time. Okay. So any questions so far? All right. So what I want to do today is that I want to practice a little bit more about this Scrum. So I want to do a quick Scrum meeting. Okay. So I will. So we have about I forgot like 15 teams or so. I want every team, okay, to find one person to represent their team, okay, to go through these questions as just as a Scrum meeting. Okay. The main questions you want to answer is what have you done in the past weeks? Your team has done, okay? And also what's your plan for this week? And also anything blocks your way, any kind of challenges. Now, before you go through the questions, very quickly give us an updates on the team name, what's the idea, remind us where the idea, and then also development stack you choose to use, and also like have you guys start to practice Agile development? You cover this overview first, and then give us a quick updates here. Okay, so I need every team to choose one person. Okay, you look at who are here. I guess you guys have Discord. Just I just need one team, one person from each team to cover this very briefly. Okay, I gave you 5 minutes, and then we will run a quick round of Scrum. Okay. If you don't see anyone here in your team, you should be the one going. Okay, I'm gonna just call the team names if nobody shows up and see who are here. All right, and you can still send your message to ask your members to come to the class. All right, so here are the uh, points to updates. Okay, I'll give you about 5 minutes. Okay, one more minute. Okay. All right, guys. Let's just get started. Okay, so just a quick recap. Okay, so update two big items. Okay, one is your overview of current status, your team name, ideas, development stack, and how the Agile project going on. It's just fun. You haven't started anything yet. Okay, don't worry. And then secondly is to go through the three questions for your Scrum meeting. What have you done in the past 2 weeks, and what's your plan for this week? And anything blows your way. So you're talking for your team. Okay. So whoever team is ready, please start first.
Oh, we can volunteer to go first.
Please, Sonny, go ahead.
All right, so we're the team doing the sports betting model, web service to assist in sports betting. Currently, we plan to use for our front end Next.js, and then for our back end Django with a DynamoDB database and using a AWS EC2 instance to host our servers. And then with the ML development in Python, typical libraries expected to use TensorFlow. And then currently, what we've been doing recently is just investigating various data sets that we could use to train our model, particularly focusing on football, American football data right now. And then to kind of manage our workflow and to plan out the next couple of weeks, just using GitHub projects. And then, expected for the next couple of weeks, we want to train some baseline models just to see if we can actually predict some basic sports bets with decent accuracy, and then just get the overall framework together to get a basic web application up and see if we can interact with a machine learning model through the web.
All right. Anything blows your way?
Um, Yes and no. I guess right now it's trying to find good data sets that have enough data for like particular players that is publicly available to download. Um, we're considering maybe possibly using web scraping processes, or there's a couple options that have downloadable CSVs, but some of them might be a little bit outdated. So it's really just finding good data. That's our current blocker.
Okay. All right. Sound good.
All right, I'll go next. I guess our team is ByteWorks. Our idea is a recipe finder, so users can find recipes based on what ingredients they currently have available. Our tech stack is Vue for the front end, and then the back end is Django with a Postgres database. We haven't started Agile yet, so can't really talk about that. Hopefully, we will very soon. Over the past few weeks, we've just been learning more about using Django and Postgres. I have no experience with it, and just setting up our dev environment. And then for this week, I want to set up some basic APIs so users can add their ingredients to the database, and hopefully you can add some recipes to the database so the user can retrieve some new recipes. and nothing's really blocking our way. We just need to ramp up a little bit.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah, I can go ahead and go next. Our team name was You Are My Sunshine. We're trying to build an app that can generate a meal plan based on what's available from the on-campus restaurants. And for our dev stack, we're planning to use Mongo, Express, React, and Node. This past week, we've compiled a list of the menus from on-campus restaurants, and this week is looking like we're going to set up the database and get this whole framework going. And there doesn't seem to be anything blocking our way.
All right. Sounds exciting.
Uh, I will go next. So our team is 2A2E, and we are going to do a project related to the Security Plus training website. And right now we are using um, Flask to as a backend and front end. We just use basic HTML and um, JS right now. So we set up the basic framework and repo. We are going to use GitHub project to manage it. And mm, and for the next 2 weeks, we are going to focus on the database, like how we add the sample flashcard for the users. And we don't have any blockers right now.
All right. Sounds Junior.
I will go next. My team is locally Source Coast, and our project is like to build like a movie recommended by a person vibe when you go out with your friend. You don't know what movie to choose, and my app can do that for you. So my for the dev stack I use is for the front end we use React, Vue, TypeScript, and Tailwind, and we also use two type of API. Is the core API we use the Django, and for the Recall API we use Fast API and Neo4j, and for the infra we also use Docker Compose for the local setup, and we also use GitHub Action for the CI. For we have already done for the past weeks is we already set up some basics HTML for our team web page, and we also set up the project GitHub for the assignment, and for on that on the project we can like show some iteration for each week. We already set up for the our like what we need to do for the 2 weeks, and in the next 2 weeks, I think we will try to complete our like the UI of the website, and then we can import some information from the database. And any blocks of our team is there was a lot of really new things we have to learn, like new technology, like ABI, or there was or GitHub project. We have to work on, try a lot to familiar with new technology. That's it.
All right. Sounds good, Henry.
I can go next. Our team is Pumpkin Chai, and our idea was the calendar, the schedule planner. We actually changed our dev stack from when we presented. We're going to be using Next.js and Supabase instead. Um, we haven't actually started coding, but we've set up the GitHub and we've created our team page. Um, what we want to do in the next few weeks is basically structure out how our application wants to like look and the like layout of the application. Um, Something that might block our way is that some of us are new to some of the things that we're using, so it's going to be a bit of a learning curve. But yeah, the first 2 weeks should be like a learning period for us.
All right. Thank you.
I could go
Team.
next. Oh,
Oh, okay.
you can go.
Okay, thank you. Our team is GS Code, and our deal was to create a better MyBar that is more user-friendly and easier for clubs to use. We're using Next.js, TypeScript, and MongoDB for our dev stack, and we're planning for our sprints to be 1 week long, and we're just using the built-in GitHub like project management tracker. And over the past 2 weeks, we've just been getting more familiar with Next.js and TypeScript. Then our plan this week is to start creating a mock design of our webpage using Figma, and there's no blockers.
I'll go next. So, our team name is Clueless, and our idea was the gamification of that personal scheduler app. And our dev stack consists of Python Flask, MongoDB, and hosting on an AWS EC2 instance, just as like everyone else is doing. In terms of like agile practice, how we're going to be dividing our tasks is really just based on the expected features of the app itself, to each person and what they're most comfortable with implementing. And what have we done over the past 2 weeks? We've mainly been solidifying features to add to the application itself, as well as wireframing the app. Making sure that like, okay, here's what the tabs we're gonna have. Maybe put the calendar like view here. Here's how the game is actually gonna work. Maybe on the sidebar over here, stuff like that. And I guess for our plan this week is mainly just solidifying who is going to do what, via GitHub projects, as well as getting a better idea of this kind of bleeds into anything blocking our way, but finding a balance between too much distraction and helpfulness for the game itself in the calendar app. So that's one thing that we're also trying to be, I guess, try to get a more solid idea of, as well as the biggest thing that kind of blocks our way, on top of just learning new items such as like MongoDB, as well as just time management.
Right. Yeah. Sounds good.
I could go next. We're Team Maji. Our idea is to build a client-side only video compression tool. As for our dev stack, we plan on using Next.js as a full stack framework alongside Firebase. We're planning or we're utilizing Trello to delegate tasks between team members. What we've done in the past weeks are we discussed other existing implementations of this project, and we deliberated on existing technologies to leverage as well as what to learn. Our plan for this week and the coming weeks is to build a minimum viable product, basically build out a bare bones web UI with basic functionality. As for anything blocking our way, we're not sure yet because we haven't actually started developing.
All right. Sounds good, James.
We can go next. Our team name is Error503, and our app is going to be a way better version of When to Meet. Our dev stack is using Go, Vue.js, Figma for mockups, Postgres SQL, Docker, and Table Plus for the databases. And what we've done so far for the past week is that the mobile UI is almost done and part of the backend is finished. And our plans for this week is to try to finish up that mobile UI and get started on the desktop UI, as well as starting to integrate that mobile UI and also continuing to work on the backend and the database tables. For blocks, right now, since having a really good mobile experience is one of the things we wanted to change about When to Meet. We are spending quite a bit of time on the UI, so we might have some trouble managing the time, and we might have to end up cutting certain features because we just don't have the time to implement it. So we're struggling a little bit with that, and everyone's also really busy at the moment. And there's also going to be a pretty big learning curve because a lot of the technologies we're using is new to most of us. But you know, we're trying to get through it, and we're just taking it one step at a time. And we have some backup plans for if we need to cut certain features or like just some plans to make sure we have an MVP working by like the very end of this project or something like that. Yeah.
All right. Sound good.
I can go next.
I'll go next.
Oh, you.
Are you ready for?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I'll go next. So team is Team Rocket. Our idea is make a CPP mainframe app, and then with the technology development, we are using Python and then Python Flask, and also MongoDB, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So we've already made some of the progress with projects task, assigned tasks on GitHub, and we might add more tasks. And also we have used three prioritized the task we want to be. So one is send verification links, and one is matching system, and the priority one is the chatting system. And what have we done over the past few weeks? We just make one of these simple demos with the user and also admin API and also connect to the MongoDB. But we still need to improve a lot of for the UI and also the experience of how the user the user is experience. Anything blocks away, I would think is the future like how to figure out the main feature like how to do a live chat, not taking that much storage from the database, and also how to verify the CPB student only from our school email. But just a minority, the task would just be time management, team meeting, and also assign tasks for each body.
All right, sounds nice.
We can go next. Our team name is Regular Snails, and our project was Luxta, an app for photographers to determine the position of the sun. We're still in the planning phase. We've had some discussions about our sort of tasks and features, but we have a couple of things coming up. We need to prioritize our feature plan and determine our tech stack and framework for that. And then on the horizon, we also want to reach out to the photography club to have some discussions with them about what they think of the idea and also to do some marketing for it. And what's blocking our way right now is just finding times to meet and work because a lot of us are pretty busy.
I can go next. I'm from Team Bite-Sized Brains. We're sticking with our original idea of a kind of fun and social media type cooking app. Our dev stack is going to be Python for the back end, using Supabase for the database, and the front end is still undecided right now. As for Agile practice, we're going to be using GitHub projects just like everyone else. And what we've done over the past few weeks is we've identified the two primary user stories that we're going to focus on, that being a feed, kind of like how Instagram does it, and secondary, a mechanism for people to trade recipes. So those are our two focuses. We just need to distill those into individual work items and then start from there.
All right, thanks.
I can go next. Our team is Thatchworks. We're making a website that photographers can use to manage their business and any other creative ideas with their clients. Our stack is React, Python with Fast API, PostgreSQL, and Docker. So far, we've set up our GitHub with the basic framework, and this week we're going to make the basic structure for the website, like the client side and the business side with their individual pages. And all that's really blocking us is procrastination.
All right.
I can go next. Our group is Infinity, and our web server is called Hangout. It's a group get-together tool using an interactive map. Our dev stack includes Next.js, React, and MongoDB. We are currently assigning tasks by splitting our work into 4 groups and delegating each group to a person. Over the last 2 weeks, we've made a lot of progress on our design and our APIs. This week, we plan on finishing up our design and getting started in our database. As for what blocks our way, we're a little bit inexperienced with our dev stack and we're learning as we go.
All right, sounds good.
I can go next. Okay, so our team name is Pending Status, and our idea was the connection and scheduling app that allows students on campus to schedule like meetups with each other based on like whether they want to hang out based on their hobbies or for maybe peer tutoring sessions. And for our tech stack, we're using React for our front end and Express with Node for our back end. And for our database, we're using Postgres. And so in the past few weeks, we've set up the GitHub project and assigned roles for what each of us are going to do. And for hopefully in the these next couple of weeks, we'll have like a basic backend and front end working, and so we can test out how to build from there. And the main thing blocking our way is our inexperience with our tech stack and also um, time management.
All right.
I can go next. My team name is 67 Mangoes, and our idea is Find My Class, which is basically an app where you can upload your schedule and it will show you a map and route out all your classes. Um, the dev stack we're using is React for front end, Flask for back end, and MySQL for the database. And we're going to try and use GitHub projects to manage everything. And so far, we have made like the basic file structure on GitHub, and we've kind of divided up the roles and gave each member a specific focus. And we've tested the basic API just to see if it works. For this week, we're planning on making just all the tasks that we need to get this project done. And the main thing that we're concerned about blocking us is getting floor plans. We've gotten some of the floor plans from online, but there might be some, we don't have all of them, so there might be issues there.
All right, thanks. All right, let's finish up. Two more teams. Let's do it quickly.
I could go next. Our team name is For Loop, and our idea is Park IT, which provides a simple web app for users to reserve cheaper, convenient parking near event venues while giving locals an opportunity to earn extra income. Our dev stack is Mern Stack. Well, how we manage tasks is we're using GitHub to track our tasks. What we have done over the past week, we created the team repo and set up the Mern project stack. And what are our plans for this week is to connect the front-end React app to call the back-end API and start defining the MongoDB schema for parking spots and users. Anything blocking our way, right now, no major blockers, just getting everyone comfortable with the MERN stack and making sure Git workflows are smooth for all team members.
All right. Yeah, thanks, Michelle. All right. One more team. The GPT Warriors. Anyone here? Marco, Samuel, Mong, and Nathan. All right. I don't see any one of them here. All right. Well, thanks for the updates, guys. Okay, so and very good. Okay, so um a lot of those actually sound very professional. Okay. And in as I told you last time, this meeting looks a very simple meeting. Okay, so you actually do that every single day for most of the time. Most of the team, very rarely, sometimes the team is very not very fast, and then they go like once a week. That also seen that, but most of the team they do once a day. And normally, once you join a new team, you get some of the calendar invitations to try to. The manager will send that to you, what time they meet. Most of my team they do it in the morning, first thing in the morning, and then sometimes the team do the in noon time and afternoon time. So you might think that this is just a very simple meeting, but I want to spend the rest of the lecture today to kind of highlight uh, the significant part about this Scrum meeting or stand-up meeting. Um, you know, seemingly the meeting is mostly for a kind of a checkup on the progress, make sure everyone is on is it synchronized? Okay, we know what's going on, the status and everything. Today you're mostly talking for your team, but in reality, you're only talking on behalf of yourself individually. This is just a individual updates, not a team update. But we have too many students, so we'll actually talk that by team. Okay, but some of the things I really want you to remember and to know how important these meetings are. Okay, I hope everyone pays some attention because this will actually very much affect your career, especially in the early stages. Okay, so some of the facts I want you to know is that once you start work, okay, so obviously everyone is thinking about promotion, become senior, and later on you become manager and directors, right? So that should be your career path, and I'm sure every one of you want to go that route and then go do better and better job and get higher rank and levels and getting better packages. And in other words, we're talking about promotions, right? But why some people can get promotion, some people not, or why some people can get promotion faster than the others. Obviously, I think that's been determined by a number of reasons. But no matter what other reasons exist, the very fundamental thing you should have is to show really good performance, right? The high performers that brings bigger contributions are obviously going to weigh more in whenever we do the promotions. But obviously there will be other reasons like political reasons and also the importance of the team, the project itself. But we're not talking about those one. Okay, so you want to show really good performance. Okay, but I want everyone to understand one very simple fact. If you work at a software company, okay, how are you going to show your performance? Okay, in college or in any of the schools, it's very easy to show your performance because we have your assignments, we know how you perform in the class. And we also have exams. Okay, what's the final exam of the project? Okay, by seeing all of those, by especially marrying those with grades, we know your performance. Okay, that's actually very straightforward. But once you start working in a company, how could people still know your performance? There won't be any exams, there won't be any assignments, and nobody actually going to look at how you're doing your work every day. Okay. Another thing you should know is that in the company, any kind of workspaces, every single individual is very busy. You're busy, your teammates are very busy, and also more importantly, your managers are also very busy. Well, everyone is busy. Who is gonna kind of sit beside you and watch what you're doing every day? Nobody. Okay, so you are really on your own. So based on this, if everyone very busy and you don't really have anything concrete to test, right, to show the scores, how are you going to show your performance and the contribution? Okay. And then you might be saying, oh, of course, because I actually deliver this feature independently. This is a very big deal for our team. That's very true. But I also need to let you know the facts that most of the time you're not going to be the one that deliver a very big task that fundamentally, attract everyone's attention. Most of the time your work are just based on this very small minor things, bug fixes, maintenance, or refactorings, or just collaborate with others on some of the very minor issues. Okay, you're not going to always deliver a significant feature because the bigger the company is, the less those features will be. Okay, all this major product. Let's think about a Gmail, right? So you don't really see big changes on Gmail every month. Okay, pretty much they remain the same thing. Every season or maybe every quarter, they get some of the small features. But I think there may be thousands of people working behind a Gmail, right? So what are the people doing? So they're always doing some of these very minor small things. So based on all these facts I just mentioned, and the question here is that how would you show your good performance? And in other words, how would your team or managers know your performance and the contribution? Okay. Now, believe it or not, I think the Scrum meeting actually serves a very important, opportunity for you to show that. Now, even though the question here, okay, the three question here are very simple, um, and you're only just going to talk about that for half minute, maybe 1 minute at most. Okay, And also it's like every day you're not gonna show a lot of big things. Maybe you only finish just one or two small tasks and 2 hour tasks or 4 hour tasks, right? So why does that matter? Because if you think about this one, guys, this meeting happens every single day. It's a daily meeting. It's a daily stand-up meeting. Well, you cannot really give too much for a single meeting for a single day, but if you keep doing that kind of meeting every day while you're working there, and you're always showing really good and positive updates, very professional updates, you give something always like impresses people, and over the time, and this will build your reputation. Over time, the time, people will understand your ability, your performance, and everything. Remember this, guys, because this one happens every single day, and that's how this one can help you a lot. Okay. In the company, sometimes, for your promotion, normally the most important person will be your managers. Okay. And manager obviously try to take care of every member in the team, but I need to let you know the managers are always the biggest role. Okay. In tech company, manager don't write single line of code. Developer write code, and never assume the manager's job is easier. That job is much harder. Okay, because they're gonna take the responsibility for the whole project. If the project got delayed, and the manager is gonna be the one to blame for, not the individual developers. Okay, and the manager need to handle a lot of meetings, hirings, and also different developers have different requests and issues. They need to balance and coordinate a lot of things. Every single team, I'll tell you, the managers always busier than the developers. Because for developers, you only focus on your one job there. So if you know that, then how could managers know your performance? The manager don't have time to go back to your GitHub to look at your commit history to see how many lines of code you write. They literally don't have that much time. And also, they're not going to have a lot of time for you to discuss things. A lot of the team, they set up the one-on-one meetings between you and your manager. Sometimes people do that once a week, but I would say most time people do it like once every 2 weeks, because just for those meetings, a lot of work for a manager to do. So managers are always very busy. They don't have time to look at how you are actually doing. So it's really about what you can tell, what you can show to your manager and to other people. Just like today, we have actually 70 students in the class, although today maybe almost 50 of you actually showed up. I There's no way for me to know everyone, every team, how you're doing. Okay, I am very busy, and also I don't really have time to meet with every team individually and regularly. So I can only learn a little bit from what you just told me. And some of you actually did provide a lot of professional updates. You guys sound like some of you actually set up a lot of things. You mentioned about Docker, container, AWS. Some of you mentioned about to building MVP. That's actually very cool. Well, some others briefly mentioned, oh, we haven't started anything. We're just learning. There's a learning curve. We're just busy with other things. Ours, just by listening those, I can more or less feel some of the teams probably are doing better than the others, at least from what I heard. Okay, so that's basically what's going on here. Okay, if you think about it, if every day we're running this, every week we're running this, over the time, I can pretty much figure out which team probably is doing better than the other teams. Okay, so that's the true value of this. Not, I won't call it value. The value is actually to make sure everyone on the same page and give updates. But for your personal growth and promotion, career path, that's the true value, which is it provide you an opportunity to present something to your team every single day. So if most of the meetings you can do a very good job, a very professional updates, it's gonna help you so much. Okay, this is something I really want you to know. A lot of time I have seen that some of my friends when I was in Amazon, okay, most people actually get promoted after 2 years, around 2 years from the first level to the second level, which is not very difficult promotion. As long as you do a decent job, you can get to the promotion to the next level. And then moving forward, the requirement will be higher. But I used to have this friend that, he worked for 2 years and he was about to get a promotion. The manager feel, oh, I don't think you're contributing enough. Maybe consider for the next year. And the next year happens. the same thing. So he got very frustrated and then he changed the team and later on he changed a different company. No, I have to say sometimes there are managers who are not really good managers, which means that they don't really care too much about your growth. For example, they never told you what to do in order to meet that promotion requirements. And then they only said that in the last minute. That's not the best, most effective manager. Honestly, they should actually set up something as a goal for the developer to work on, right? So there are definitely managers that are not good, but a lot of the time, I would say that it's all about how you actually try to show and perform and let others know your contributions and then know that consistently. So, because if you don't say it, okay, there is literally no way for others to know how much work you have done. Okay, that kind of communication is just so important. You should never assume that the developer, I just work very hard, I just write code, I get things done, and then we'll be good. It doesn't work that way because I told you that everyone is very busy. They can't really see or know it. They don't even think about you. But in that meeting, everyone had to say something. Everyone are there in person, and they will listen. They will get it. So that kind of piece of information you're showing, even though it's a small piece of information, but if you're showing that every day, that helps so much. Okay. So the rule number one here, guys, remember this meeting is a very good opportunity for you to demonstrate your progress and work. Okay. And then for your promotion, you should be the one that's in charge of presenting your performance and the contribution. It's not the professor will go to grade your work and give you a score and determine your promotion. As you getting out of college and we're going to the workspace, you got to change that mind. Okay, you can't just passively wait for someone else to grade your work. That's never gonna work because people don't have time to look at it. They don't know what they're doing, and nobody really care what they're doing every day. They just care about all the results and the things you show. Okay, so this meeting, just don't underestimate it. Every time we go to the meeting, okay, I would suggest you really need to prepare that a little bit, especially in the first half year or first 1 year when you just join the team. Even though it's only 3 questions, now, I will tell you, when I was doing this meeting, there's so many times I even forgot what I did yesterday. Or I was going to say something, but during the meeting, I forgot to say it. Okay, that's actually a big loss. Think about yesterday, you fixed a very big bug, and then you actually forgot to mention that. That's a very waste, right? So in the beginning, when I go to the before I go to the meetings in my team, I might spend 5, 10 minutes. I would just think about this one. I would write down some of the keywords and notes, and if you want to make sure that you're not remembering it, and then just bring the notes, okay, and then say with a very good uh, preparation, and that will help you. Okay, it shows that you're very serious, and then if every day, every time you show a very professional, um, the updates, okay, it helps to build your own reputation. Okay, so remember, as a new developer join the team, you got to be very serious and careful and prepared for this type of Scrum meetings. Okay, so we're gonna try to run the meeting in another 2 weeks or so. Okay, so hopefully at that time, every team is getting much more prepared for this. Okay, so very good professional wise. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is that for this updates, all right, if you got something really good done, okay, that's really good. So for example, you finally there's a bug bothering the team for 2 weeks, and you were the one that fixed this yesterday. And obviously today you're gonna talk about this one so proudly, right? So to show you how you find the bug and how things are working, that's gonna be a really good thing to share. Okay, so very good contribution. Or finally, you're the one who delivered this feature that's been long waited, and great, and then show it and give an updates and then move your task from the progress to finished. So great thing to update. But the reality, guys, is that most of your days are going to be the normal days. And sometimes you have some bad days. Okay. You were given a task which is only 2 hours for a day. And it's a simple thing. But you work on that, and it turned out that one has some kind of old bugs that bothers this one. And you're gonna fix that one first, and then but you didn't finish. And next day, when people are going through all the stickers, they can ask you, "Hey, John, how is your task?" And you say, "Well, I'm not finished because there's some issues here." But the people can look at, "Oh, come on, this is a 2 hour task. We're not still finish it." Okay, so that's called a bad day. All right. But I would say, the good days and bad days are less frequent, but the normal days, the regular days are more common. The regular days are just you're doing the regular things, nothing really significant. You're just delivering it, nothing special. It could be fast or small, right? So in other words, the really good days is only a small percentage of the Scrum meetings, and most of the time you're just dealing with the regular every days or some of the bad days. So my question, guys, here is that, for example, for the bad days, okay, if things are not working very well, and how are you going to deal with the Scrum meeting next day? What are you going to talk about? Okay, like the case I told you, there is this 2 hour task which is supposed to finish within half day, but you didn't get it done because something unexpected happens. Then next day in the meeting, what are you going to do? What are you going to talk about it? Could anyone give me some ideas?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, yeah. So my question is that when you have a very good day in the Scrum meeting, okay, and it's gonna be feel very proud to share that. Okay, there's not gonna be a problem. But there will be some bad days for your work that, for example, you were given a 2 hour task, which is supposed to finish within half day. You were supposed to give that update next day and finish it. But it turned out that that task has some kind of bugs or issues you didn't expect it. You didn't finish it on that day. I'll call that as a bad day. The next morning, how are you going to face everyone in the Scrum meeting and give them updates?
Well, I mean, just kind of be honest, be like, hey, I had this task, we talked about this deadline, but I ran into some, unexpected issues with it. These are my problems. If it's, let's say you finished it, or, like maybe it took longer. You're like, okay, we have a little bit less time for this. If it's, more of an extended thing, like like maybe you didn't even finish the task, if you're really running into issues on it, then that would probably be a case where you could even talk it, like try and work out the problem with other members of the team, uh, depending on how important this like feature, like whatever it was you were working on is. And if it is an extended thing, talk about if you need to like reassess sort of your overarching plan, how much it's going to impact that um, the like project as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah, very good. So to summarize, okay, you mentioned two things. One is you gotta be honest. Obviously, you can't escape from that situation because you didn't deliver it. You gotta tell people, this is not going as expected. And I think secondly, you mentioned about like try to kind of make some decision and judgment or to say, oh, I'm gonna have some extensions or potentially reassess this one with the teammates and make a more reasonable estimates. Okay, so yeah, those are very reasonable. But then sometimes I need to tell you that based on the facts I mentioned earlier, because people don't know what the issues are, they don't really care what issues you have. Okay, because everyone was busy with their own thing. All they heard was that, oh, okay, yeah, so this one wasn't finished. You were just trying to figure out if this is more difficult. But just looking at the task, since that's something already everyone agreed on, I don't think that's that difficult. It's probably because you're just a junior developer, you're not experienced enough. Probably gonna take some more time and you want to extend it, fine. No, we don't care. Showing that once is fun, but every month you got a couple of those kind of updates. That's obviously not what people want to hear. Okay. But overall, what you said was good. Okay. There are still some other things I want to emphasize. Anyone else had any uh, comments or suggestions? Harry, I saw you were unmuted. Did you want to add anything? Anyone else? I'll randomly pick someone. Okay. How about James? You gave an updates. What are we gonna deal with the bad days updates?
Um, maybe just give them another timeline on the expected time to like finish or crush those bugs.
Yeah, that's probably something you always have to say. Oh, I probably will actually get it done today, something like this. Okay, but that's a problem I mentioned, right? So it just said that you're not capable, and then you just need one more day extension. Come on, we already estimates for 2 hours, and then you just ask for one more day's extension. It's almost like well, some of you will ask me for homework extension. You never need to ask me that, okay? I'm not that picky, so I always say yes. But I will know that, well, most others don't ask for extension, that you're the one asked for extension. So for some reason, you're not doing very well. Okay. Henry, you want to add something?
Well, personally, I think if I am in that case, I think we can that is a like unexpected problem, like a bug or the issue in the last minute. So
Mhm.
we have to like know about the other person like problem, and we can sitting together. Instead of the other person will blame you or do talk about some bad thing, they can help you. Like we can sitting together, figure out how to fix the bugs, and then we can after we fix the bug, I think we have a really good experience because instead of doing some bad thing, we are like cooperate with together and we help each other to fix bugs.
Mhm.
And otherwise, I think teamwork is one of the most important things when you are studying or working in your group, or when you go out, when you work, or in the big team for a company. Team working is one of the most important skill you have need to have. Yeah,
Okay. All right, Henry. So your solution is to sit together with a teammate and try to solve it together.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Well, the Scrum that well you can do that, but that's not gonna happen in the Scrum meeting. So what you would do in the Scrum meeting to say, oh, could anyone like when you answer the third question, anything blocks my way, you're gonna say, well, this one blocks my way. Could anyone actually sit with me together to solve it? Okay. Don't do that, Henry. That's something assigned to you. Well, you can always ask for help, but
Oh,
everyone is busy. Okay. Well, well, of course there will be people helping you for sure, but that only shows that you're just not capable of finish your work independently. Once again, doing that once is fine, a couple times is fine, especially when you just join a new team. But if you are always the one that you can't finish, you ask extension, you ask someone else to work with you together, that's not going to build your reputation.
yeah. Thank you for the advice, Professor.
Oh, no problem, Henry. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyone else want to add anything? How are you going to deal with updates for a bad day?
For me, if like I didn't finish some tasks and I have something I have to report, I will say like this is the problem block my way, but I try solution B, solution C. At least some solution I did to try that problem, and then however I still have not finished yet. But today I plan to do solution D, solution E, yep, something like that to resolve that problem. And I think I will say I will make sure it will finish right away after I uh, that after I do own up solution, I guess something like that.
Very good, Tam. Have you ever worked in the companies before?
Uh, Not yet, but just some idea.
Okay, well, you're actually very professional. That's kind of the answer I'm looking for. Okay, very impressive. Okay, so I'll summarize that, guys. This happens actually pretty frequently, guys. When I was doing my first internship, it was back in 2010. I was in this company, Siemens, and then I was. Oh, sorry, Matthew, are you going to add anything? Matthew, anything you want to add? All right. So I was working in Siemens. Okay. At that time, no problem, Matthew. At that time, it was not a Scrum. Okay, it was just a research team. We do research project. We don't have a daily Scrum. So I have a manager who gave me a task, and then the manager just like to stop by at my desk. The manager is very busy, always busy. They just stop by and just check, oh, how are you doing? And they just want to talk to you for like 10 seconds, a half minutes. And I'll give him updates of what I did, this one, that one. Most of the time, I work very hard. Okay, I when I was doing intern, I just stay there like late night and weekends. I pretty much just almost leave in the company. So I work very hard. I always have good things to show. But there were this time that I remember it was something about the embedded software development, like writing the software for the circuit board. Okay, a lot of C, C++. The challenging thing for me was not the C or C++, was about the electrical engineering stuff because I know nothing about those. It was very difficult. The program very hard to debug. As some of you actually update today, there was a big learning curve. So he gave me that task, okay, and I started work on that. I realized that was very difficult. I only learned a very little bit, even though I worked very late last night. I actually stay maybe 10 p.m., 10:30 p.m., and then go back to sleep and come back next morning. So next morning he stopped by, yeah, how's things going? And that question, I was honest, I was a little unprepared. I said, I'm still working on this one. This is a little hard uh, to to know, but I'll try to try to learn more about it and see how the things go. That's pretty much what I showed, and that was a very natural way of talk about this type of things if you never have any kind of preparations. Okay, and then the second day, I started working even harder, okay, because I know I want to get this done, okay. And but unfortunately, it was still a bad day. Okay, the things are definitely more difficult, and there were bugs because a lot of things are very hard to test. Okay, that's the challenge about embedded software development. It's just because I don't have much experiences. And on day three in the morning, the manager and then stopped by again, asked me the same question, and and that's when I started to become a little bit anxious because I feel the manager been waiting for this one for 2 3 days, and I still don't have anything to show. I'm kind of still stuck there. And then that's when I feel really a little bit nervous, and I feel a little bit awkward. I was like, yeah, this and I don't know what this part still not working, but I'm still looking at that. Okay, I'll try to finish that as soon as I can. And then I think there's another day and another day, so eventually I got that done. Okay, but those days I feel very, very stressful. Okay, because it's just it makes you feel that people hire you here and then you're just not capable, you can't get things done. But then the truth is that I actually did everything I can. I was working super, super hard, extra hours, and still, it didn't work very well. So then the question is how are you going to deal with those kind of situations? You're not lying, you're not being lazy, it just the thing itself is hard. Okay. I will tell you guys, a lot of you mentioned that being honest, ask for help, extension, these are all fun, but those are just all the very basic things. The fundamental thing you want to do for this one, okay, is actually what Tam just mentioned. Okay, if things are not going very well, okay, assume that you actually did the work, or you're not just, quit and you go to watch a movie and for half day you come back, okay. Um, you want to provide a little bit more details on the challenges and why it was a bad day. So in other words, if you have an average day or a good day, you spend 5 minutes to prepare for your updates. If it's a bad day, you gotta be careful and you want to put more efforts to prepare what you're going to talk about for the bad day. That's the bottom line. Okay, because otherwise, if you don't do that well, that's going to ruin your reputation. Okay, maybe not once, but if you always have those, it's not going to be good. So the key here, the best practice here is give it details and even more details. Okay, so what you want to say is that, well, yesterday, I'm supposed to finish the task, which is to put this front end changes to the website. But it turned out once I deploy that, okay, the website, the web page, the latency increased a lot. Okay, it was too slow, so it was rejected. A lot of companies, if your changes cause the performance to drop, they won't let you to push in. So I can't really deploy that, unfortunately. So what I saw the issues was it could be an issue about my database configuration. Maybe the database wasn't configured correctly. And also I saw the reason could be that I used maybe a different version of a JavaScript library, and then that library maybe changed the performance somehow, not compatible with what we have. Or I think the third reason, if those two are not, the case, I saw maybe it will be the reason about our recent servers we use in AWS. Maybe a server got something changed. So what I did yesterday was that number one, I was changing the JavaScript version. It turned out to be the same results. And number two, I copied the other database configuration to mine and make sure I have the same thing. It's still actually the same results. I rerun everything. So what I want to do today is that I'm going to test that AWS server to see if that make any difference. Okay. If not, what I think that could still be the reason will be some of the maybe the cache issues or just some other things, blah blah blah. Okay, so that's what Tam summarized. Okay, I thought about the causes for the issue was reason one, two, three, and I tried one, two, three to identify those. Some of those are working, some are not. My plan for today is to keep trying three. If not, I'm gonna try on four and five. Okay, hopefully I can get this done in a certain amount of time. Okay, so hopefully you guys you see that point. The point is that when the days are not good, okay, you got to provide some little bit more details on exactly what you did for that issue. Okay, if you can show this thing much more professionally, sometimes not only it saves day, but also it not only saves your meeting, but also it shows that you're actually very professional. You know how to identify the problem, you know how to solve those, and then prove the causes. People might feel, wow, yeah, you're actually very professional. And nobody gonna really care too much about the deadline and whether 2 hours or 4 hour task. And people will see what's going on, and that should be the best way to handle this kind of updates. Okay. I really want to give you a reminder. Okay, so once you start work, you will have bad days, you will have slow days. Okay, always. Okay, especially in the beginning. Okay, don't make yourself too stressful. As long as you did the work, you talk about what you did in a very professional way, in a very detailed way. But then the bottom line is that you got to, you know, um, think about it and then be prepared. All right. So that's the fundamental issue. I really want to spend so much time to talk about this one just because when I was working, I had this kind of days. There are some of the moments I feel was very hard to deal with. Okay. But if you know this one, it's not a very challenging things to handle. It's just more about how you communicate. Okay. Um, at the end, just always pay attention to the Scrum meetings. Okay, because it happens so frequently, it helps you to build your reputation, whether it's a good way or a bad way. Okay, inside a company, guys, always remember, and especially in some of the big top companies, everybody does pretty good and decent coding. Okay, because you guys all pass the lead code, everything. You guys are all very good. You should try not to think that my coding is very good, so I'm going to be better than others. I'm going to compete with others with my better coding skills. Today we have AI, so it's almost impossible. Even without AI, was still very hard. Okay, when I was working in Amazon, I saw my coding was very good because I've been coding since elementary school. I was actually very confident, but it turned out that I was nothing. Okay, so there are a lot of other people who can do better, whether it's because they work longer or other reasons. But I realized very quickly coding is a very basic skill. It's good that you can do good ones, but in the big companies, a lot of people can do good coding. At the end, if you want to stand out, okay, a lot of times, besides coding, you need a better communication, you need a better leadership, and showing more proactive work. It's all about how you present the thing you have done, and otherwise, people will not know about it. Okay, so that's the significant part about this Scrum meeting. As I mentioned, maybe in another 1 or 2 weeks, we'll try to run this again and definitely try to bring something more professional. Okay, to summarize here, okay, this is very important. So you got to prepare that very seriously. Okay, and you want to know what to do to talk about if things are not going very well and providing more details, talk about your solutions, your assumptions, your plans, okay? And always be more proactive in these meetings because that shows their leadership, that shows how you care about the team, the work. And the more you talk about it over the time, people will know, oh, you are the one that who can give some opinion and comments, and eventually you will be the one who can be promoted to the next level or the next manager. Okay. Don't try to always think that you can compete with your coding skills. Okay. I think the non-technical skills are way more important from the long run. Okay. All right, guys. That's all I want to share. Okay. Hopefully these things will help you. But keep this in mind once you see the Scrum meeting next time, know how to handle those. All right, guys. Okay. I will see you guys on Thursday.
Professor,
Yes.
I already sent you a message.